Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talos of Tech live on Twitch, and this is it, ladies and gentlemen. My MagSafe Duo box is out for delivery. This is by far the best tech product with the name Duo in it. How many are there? Are there some I'm missing? Because all I'm thinking of is the Surface Duo, which is very easy to beat. This is cheaper, more functional, probably still overpriced. Duo, I guess, means overpriced, but again, if there's a hinge, if it folds, it's got to be expensive, right? That's how it works. Oh yeah, apparently there's some type of Tuesday announcement rumored to happen. No clue what it's going to be. I'm predicting something minor because it's already bizarre that if there is an announcement on Tuesday of some kind, why didn't they just announce it at the last Mac event? It was already 45 minutes. You could have easily tacked in something at the last 15 minutes. So whatever they delayed or decided to not include in that event, I'm guessing it was something somewhat minor. Either some new watch bands or some new cases, some battery cases for the iPhone, something like that. Or maybe something like, I guess I've heard some people saying new Apple TV, but I have a hard time believing that just because people have been saying new Apple TV for almost an entire year now. I think we had originally saw those rumors in January, and they were like, coming this March, there will be a A12 chip with an Apple TV, and that never came out. So I'm instantly skeptical whenever people say new Apple TV's coming out. It's like, at this point, if it does happen, I won't be that shocked. I'll be like, oh yeah, that was rumored. But I'll also not be like, woohoo, let me get it. I got to review the A12 chip Apple TV. Yeah, I'm just, whatever. Cosminator, thank you for the 25 months of Twitch Prime. That's a long time. Thank you guys very much. And Rimo87, thank you for the Twitch Prime as well. Hey, Drew, you the best. That is not true, but I appreciate the Twitch Prime. Thank you. MagSafe Trio. That would be interesting. I saw some people talking about MagSafe Trio and having an option there for, I don't know, another pad maybe for AirPods or something. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I don't see the need really. Like, my point is, if MagSafe Duo and MagSafe Trio were a thing, I would still get Duo because my AirPods, I use them sometimes, I use them occasionally, but I don't use them enough to the point that I need to charge them like overnight. I need to leave them on the charger like at the same time I'm charging my phone and my AirPods. So for that reason, like, I'm pretty much just going to drop my AirPods on MagSafe whenever my phone is not charging. So whenever I wake up in the morning and take my phone off the charger, I could just put AirPods there, even if I was traveling, you know. And I've noticed I use AirPods even less when I'm traveling, but I guess I haven't been to an airport in a while. But I actually honestly think that this MagSafe Duo could be the last charger I ever need to buy. I have tons of USB-C bricks, you know. I have lots of USB-C cables, so I'm not worried about that. I've literally have, just off camera here, I have a big bowl that I put all of my excess chargers in. It has USB-C to Lightning, it has USB-A to Lightning, it has 5-watt bricks, it has 20-watt bricks. Actually, I don't think I have any 20-watt bricks. I just have 18-watt bricks, which are so dang similar. I have several from Google, and I have several from Apple 18-watt bricks, which will still charge with MagSafe, just slightly slower, but not a noticeable amount worse. Aiden 5 just reached the 24-month point. Thank you very much for the 2 years of support. Thank you, Aiden. And TyGeek97 subscribed for a full year. Wow, look at the symmetry we got there. Appreciate it. A full year of Twitch Prime. Thank you, TyGeek. That face when free Twitch sub doesn't auto-renew. Yeah, I think Amazon would lose too much money if it auto-renewed, so that's why they don't do it. But they do encourage people to, I mean, I encourage people to use Twitch Prime, but Amazon loses money on it, so might as well. But they're a rich company. They can afford it, right? If you could turn on auto-renew, they would most likely just have everyone turn it on once and then never turn it off, and then I would just continuously get paid, so it would be great for me. But Amazon's like, no, that would be too hard, so we're going to leave off the auto-renew thing. Matthew says the 18-watt charge in the Duo is at 10.7 watts instead of 11. Such a small difference. Yeah, that's not a big enough difference. Chris Norton, thank you for the 100 bits. Welcome to the mini club. Yes, for those who missed the video, I put some extra work into. I seem to get a lot of positive response on that last Tech vid. Thank you, by the way, for everybody. I thought it was going to be pretty cringy. I thought it was going to be pretty awkward, but I was like, you know what? I need a better way of showcasing my torrent, because I was very, very split between the Pro Max and the Mini, and I could not make up my mind. I kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I was like, well, I could just do a video where I just say, on one hand this, but on the other hand this. And I was like, yeah, I could just do that, but it would be kind of boring. And most people probably wouldn't find it very entertaining, just because it would be me just on one hand this, on one hand this. But I guess that's what a lot of my tech videos are in the first place. But you guys still watch them for some reason. And I was like, you know what? I haven't been able to do as many Saturday shorts or comedy skits on my main, on, I used to call it the main channel. I really should change it to something else. Anyway, the the primary channel of Taylosive originally was for comedy skits and action scenes and that kind of thing. I was not really starting YouTube for tech videos, but once I started the tech channel, I did it for tech videos. But yeah, I was like, I haven't been able to do a comedy skit in a while, so I want to do one that people will actually watch and enjoy. And I was like, yeah, let's do the mini Drew and the Max Drew thing, and just it takes a little bit more work than an average tech video, but it wasn't honestly that hard. Some people were like, "Oh my god, this must have taken forever to make," and I was like, it took maybe 3 times as long as a typical tech video. Normal tech video that's 8 minutes would take about an hour. That one took probably 3 hours. So in case you were wondering why there wasn't a Twitch stream a couple days ago, most of my time went to that day. Worth it in my opinion. Made a video that'll probably age a bit better than the average tech video. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I just wanted to make a few people laugh at the end of 2020 with so much bad news anyway. But yeah, switch to the 12 mini. The sim is in here officially. The switch has been made. I'm not on the fence anymore. Pro Max is getting reset, put away in its box, and shipped off. I think Monday we're gonna go to the post office. We're not trying to make unnecessary trips, but we gotta ship the thing back. So yeah, it'll be out of here officially on Monday, but it is still technically sitting over there. But I'm trying not to touch it, just because I don't want some kind of buyer's remorse thing to come back and haunt me if I pick it up and start being like, "Ooh, this is kind of nice." I don't want that to happen. So I'm just sticking with the mini, and it's been great so far. I've had my sim in it since yesterday. After I finished filming the video, I switched the sim over, switched the Apple Watch over, and everything. And loving it so far. It's going great. So I'm comfortable with it. Like Mini Drew said, I've got my wireless charger right off camera here, and it's working great. So no complaints so far with the battery life, because of what Mini Drew said, that I'm very close to wireless chargers. And as the title of today's stream suggests, yeah, I'm waiting for MagSafe Duo so I can really mess around with chargers. Do the mini voice. I like how there's a very, very slight dialect change between Mini Drew and Max Drew, who just goes a little bit lower than usual. Did you know that the Duo also acts as a single MagSafe? I didn't know this, but the watch half actually folds backwards. I figured it would do that. I just didn't see anyone doing that. Do you think MagSafe Duo is worth it? For most people, probably no. The MagSafe Duo charger is pretty expensive for what it is. I fully acknowledge that, but as I always say, worth is subjective, so it depends on the person. Main reason I was very interested in it is because we go on trips occasionally. I mean, less so in 2020, but you know, the pandemic's not going to last forever. And the little Apple Watch charge puck thing is something I really enjoyed for vacations, because I can attach the Apple Watch charging dock, I think is what it's called. It's $80, and it lets the watch puck sit flat or stand upright, so you can use it in nightstand mode. And the thing I like about it is it has lightning on the other end, so I could take I bought that a couple years ago. I think I bought it in 2018, and I'm still using it to this day, and it seems to work great. And I can attach it to a lightning cable and then charge the watch with it. Whereas now, I can charge both the phone with MagSafe and the watch with a single cable. And what I really, really love about the Duo that sets it apart, in my opinion, from the rest of inductive charging mats is how small it looks. The fact that you can fold it up. There's a whole lot of 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 wireless charging sections, but it's Usually they're pretty bulky. You know, I have right off camera here my old AirPower knockoff, and this is why I think MagSafe Duo is better than AirPower's, because this is a bit harder to pack. You know, it's fairly thin, but you couldn't really fit this in your pocket very easily. Whereas MagSafe Duo looks like something you could pretty much easily, thank you, me, fold up and fit in your back pocket if you needed to. And it looked somewhat durable. I mean, it is that kind of white felt material, so it'll probably get a little dirty, as did my Apple Watch charging dock. If they made a black version, that would be dope, but they don't. And either way, it is kind of pricey. It definitely sucks that there's no charging brick included, but I was expecting it to be the price it is. If you guys remember, I was tweeting about it. I was like, that's probably going to cost $150. And everyone was like, no, Drew, come on. It's just MagSafe puck plus Apple Watch puck. Both of those individually around $40. This thing's going to be like $80 maximum. And I was like, no, because you're thinking Apple Watch charger. You're not thinking Apple Watch charge dock. The little mechanism, I should have grabbed it before I went live. It's in my bedroom right now, so it's kind of out of the way. But the little mechanism that allows a hinge to move the charging puck upwards is really intricate. It's very tiny, and the fact that they're able to get wires and cable through all that and still make the charge puck really small and fold flat when you need it to is pretty complicated. And I knew a better comparison would be $40 MagSafe charge puck plus Apple Watch charge dock, which is $80. Put those together, you're quickly looking at around $120. And then that's not even considering the fact that now you're powering both of them off of a single port. One lightning cable is going to power both, which requires extra wiring, more complexity. So that's why I know it's going to be more expensive. So I said $150, and then it ended up costing $130. So it actually came in a little bit cheaper. But I'm actually glad that it ended up coming in cheaper. But my prediction was pretty spot on if you consider I was thinking it would come with a charge brick. I thought MagSafe Duo would actually ship with a little 20-watt USB-C brick, and it didn't. So if you add that to the purchase, it's more like $150, which is pretty close to what I was saying it was going to be. So it is kind of expensive, but for travel and for throwing something in your bag or throwing something in your pocket, and you want to be able to easily charge both the watch and the phone, and you want it to be able to charge any Apple Watch no matter what watch band you're using, you can flip it up or lay it down. I think it's pretty versatile, and of course I love MagSafe and how easy it is to lock things in place. And with the Mini having such a small battery, I really do not mind the slower charge rates of MagSafe, because I don't fast charge my iPhones most of the time anyway. I'm trying to think the last time I fast charged. Everything feels pretty fast with the 12 mini, but anyway, we got a bit of a paragraph here. Give me a second. Neum, thank you for the 100 bits. Do you want some help getting in contact at Taylos's email address? Using Gmails and stuff like that isn't very professional and can be marked spam sometimes. I figure the Taylos's brand will only go up and more. Your growth is nonstop. It's funny you say that. P.S. I got my first iPad this year, iPad Pro, upgraded from 5C to 12 Pro Max, but I'm delaying my first Apple Watch purchase for the new Canon M50 Mark II. I want to make vids like you, and Sarah Adichie rhymes with Peachy. There you go. Well, thank you for the donation. I don't need a custom email address. I know how to do it. I think we actually got one once briefly. It was like, hey, we have a @taylosive.com email address, but having to switch over all your accounts to a different email, because I'm using YouTube, I have to use a Gmail anyway. And also it's a lot of work, and I don't care that it's not professional. It doesn't bother me. I've been using the same emails for a long time, and having to switch everything over. Every time you change your email address or get a new email address, every time you set up your iPhone and the settings app pops up, it's like, enter password. It's so annoying. So I already feel like I have too many email addresses, because every time I set up a new phone, I have to enter the password over and over again. So if I have to add another one, it's just going to annoy me. But thanks for the offer, but I don't need more emails. Thank you. The real question is, when will the Apple TV remote charge with MagSafe? I don't think it can. It's too thin, isn't it? I think it's too narrow to fit on MagSafe. Have you seen the Belkin MagSafe that does your iPhone, Apple Watch, and AirPods? I have, but it looks huge, which is what I'm not a fan of. I don't want like a giant satellite dish on my nightstand. I want something to be somewhat small and compact. Like, it would be annoying if, I mean, it's somewhat practical, I guess, because you can charge everything at once. But again, I'm not usually in a situation where I need to charge my phone and my AirPods. It's usually one or the other. Like pretty much every night, especially now that I've switched to the mini, like I'm going to charge my phone. And then the rest of the time, I just going to default leave my AirPods on the wireless charger. So when my phone's not there, the AirPods are charging. I don't really need both at the same time just because I don't use my AirPods enough. And also, it'd be a lot more interesting if it was smaller. If it was a much smaller, more compact, or at least something that could fold up and turn into a compact travel thing. But the Belkin 3-in-1 charger is not meant to be moved around. You're supposed to buy that and put it on your stand and leave it there. If you tried to take that on a trip, it would be a nightmare to pack that around. You meant the Apple TV remote with MagSafe? Well, yeah, that's how I understood it. I just mean the TV remote is too thin. I don't know how it could. It couldn't fit the full magnetic ring that MagSafe requires. Do you think the new iPad Pro will have MagSafe? Probably not. You know, when Apple switches to a new standard, like a new port or a new style, I think it's because they see a long-term future in it. You know, people were really, really mad when the 2015 12-inch MacBook made the switch to USB-C for like everything. It didn't have any other ports other than USB-C. So people were like, hey, what's the point in that? But that's because, as we've seen 5 years from now, Apple's still using it across the whole MacBook lineup, and they're probably going to keep shipping MacBooks with USB-C because they see a long-term future in it. And now they've adopted USB-C on the iPads. They've brought it to the iPad Pros. They've brought it to the iPad Air. So if they're bringing USB-C to the rest of the iPads, it's probably because they think there's going to be a need for ports on the iPad for a long time. I used to think back in 2017, I was thinking, oh, everything's going to be wireless charging in the future. iPads get wireless charging. MacBooks get wireless charging. But now, as I've seen, the development of inductive charging is probably a better way to put it, because MagSafe is kind of a big wire that you have to interact with. Inductive charging has not taken off the way I thought it would, and the technology has not drastically improved the way I thought it would, to the point now where it feels like, okay, it's probably just going to be good for wearables and smartphones, but larger type devices like laptops and tablets probably are going to still need a port of some kind for the long haul. Yeah, I predicted a lot of things wrong. That was one thing I got wrong. I've gotten everything else correct, but yeah, I used to think there were a few companies that were making it seem like charging over the air was not that far away. They were like, this technology can charge iPhones and stuff like if they're within a foot of this little tower here. And it was complete vaporware. They didn't really have anything working. And the tech of charging things over the air is a lot more complicated and a lot further off than people realize. I think it's really easy to say something's 3 to 5 years away until the 3 to 5 years is up. And then it's like, oh, yeah, that's nowhere near ready. Because in 2017, there were a lot of people thinking that charging your phone over the air and just having a little tower that could charge your phone from a couple feet away, people thought, well, maybe by 2020 that type of tech will be here, and it's definitely not ready now. And I don't think it's going to be ready in the next 5 years, to be honest with you. So, no, I don't think iPads will get MagSafe support, mainly because most iPads are used with keyboard cases and covers, and trying to, man, yeah, the amount of accessories you would have to redesign. Like, this is a common setup for a lot of iPads, right? Like, this is what Apple advertises a lot of iPads as being used with. So if you wanted to adopt, I mean, it would be kind of stupid to put MagSafe in the middle with a device this large. Maybe you could put it off to the corner here, but even then, we have all these folio cases and smart keyboards and covers and accessories that the iPads uses. You would have to start selling new keyboard cases and new covers with MagSafe rings attached in them that you could dock so that MagSafe would still work on the iPads, I think it would just be a big mess that Apple's probably not that interested in. I think that they're just like, nah. I think you could technically do it. I mean, you could power an iPad with a 15-watt charge rate, which MagSafe does support. And the iPad would have to adopt glass or some type of inductive supporting ceramic, which would make the iPad much heavier. Something on the back that would allow wireless charging pass through, which, yeah, iPads currently don't support. So it would be a big, big mess to try to get it to work, and I doubt that many people would even use it, because iPhones are something it's more common for you to just kind of set down in charge, whereas iPads, not so much. iPads, you don't really sit them down on a charger. They kind of, yeah, I just don't see it happening, personally. I'm just prepared for the insane backlash once Apple gets rid of the Lightning port next year. I'm ready. Pink season, I agree. Yeah. That's how I kind of feel like right now. I'm just like, prepare for war. This is going to be fun seeing how many people get ticked off by this. I'm in the boat of like, I still don't think it's a good idea, but my main reasoning is not people use the Lightning port and people need the Lightning port. My reasoning is like, iPhones don't have enough exciting reasons to upgrade. So if you start putting in reasons to not upgrade, it's just going to hurt the sales even more so. So I would just tell Apple, like, don't remove the charge port next year because there's not going to be a good reason to upgrade in the first place. Even with the Lightning port, even if all the iPhones next year have the Lightning port, people are going to not see that many reasons to upgrade. It's going to be a very, very minor S year where it's just like, oh, okay, the pros get 120 hertz and slightly better cameras. Okay, great. It's going to be very minor in terms of year-over-year updates. So people are going to be like, do I really want to upgrade, or should I just opt for a 12 for cheaper? And if there's reasons to not upgrade, that's not going to help the situation even more so. But I'm totally ready to go portless. You know, I did the portless challenge for, I think it was a little over 2 years or close to 2 years. I started it in 2017. And lasted until, I think it was earlier this year, I made the video called Ending the Portless Challenge. Almost 2 years, I guess, without plugging anything into my phone. Just didn't use Lightning at all, just exclusively used Qi. And now we have MagSafe, which is way better than Qi. So I'm comfortable. I've got, once I get MagSafe Duo, I'll probably leave it on my desk here for, review videos and commentary about it. And then eventually I'll just probably leave it in my bedroom on the nightstand, and then the MagSafe charger I have in the bedroom right now I'm going to bring in here and have it be my dedicated desk charger for AirPods and the iPhone when I need to charge at my desk and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I'm going to be covered when it comes to using my phone portless. There's no situation I'm in where I'm like, man, I wish I could use Lightning now, but I can't. Like, I used wireless charging for 2 years, and there was hardly any situations where I was like, oh, nuts, I need to charge. Didn't really happen. Neum says, I don't want to be an Apple hater, but I love them, but I love what they took away. I love them, but I love that they took away the headphone jack from iPhones, but I think removing ports and stuff for exclusively USB-C on MacBooks was the wrong move, not for the future at all. Usually Apple removes something and sell a solution like AirPods. The MacBook SD card went away, and no airdrop capable DSLRs. What the hell? Well, thank you for the bits. I do agree that it would be nice if cameras had airdrop support. You know how Apple's been allowing AirPlay and HomeKit and more like tvOS type features they've been giving to smart TVs. Like, I just got back from a couple weeks back, I got back from my anniversary trip, and I turned on the TV, and through a software update, it now supports AirPlay and HomeKit, which was awesome because I bought that TV way back in 2018, over 2 years ago. I bought it, I think, early 2018, and it did not support HomeKit. It did not support AirPlay, and I was just like, oh, okay, it's just, it was only $400, and it's a 55-inch 4K. I was like, yeah, it's a nice TV for the price. I don't need it to have Apple HomeKit integration. And then I just get home one day, and it updates, and now I can control the TV from Control Center on my phone, and I can turn it on and off from here, and it shows up right up in the Home app, and I can control it from here, which is great. And just Apple's opening up in that way. I wish they would do the same thing with AirDrop. Like, yeah, honestly, there's very little reason to get an Apple TV anymore now with them allowing all these HomeKit features on smart TVs. But yeah, if they would let other camera companies like Blackmagic or Canon or Nikon or all the companies really, if they let it be a third party thing that was like you can airdrop files to your Mac from the camera, it would be fantastic if you didn't have to deal with all these adapters. The truth is, AirDrop is not very good at handling huge amounts of files. It's not as fast, but still, I think some AirDrop support would be better than what we have now. Like, yeah, they got rid of the SD card slot, but for someone like me, that wasn't really a huge issue because we were already using cards. Like, this is what I use for all my videos is CFast cards. This is what the Blackmagics record to, and I have to use an adapter for that anyway. And my microphone does use an SD card, so yeah, I have to use an adapter for that. But a lot of cameras like GoPros and that kind of thing use micro SD, which the MacBook doesn't have. So you got to be near an adapter anyway. So I don't really see it as big an issue, but I agree that AirDrop on a camera would be super duper helpful. I would love it if I could record a video on my Blackmagic and then just tap a few things on the display and be like, share to my iMac Pro, boom. And then it just starts wirelessly sending it. That would be so nice. I wish it would save me so much time in having to fuss with all these adapters and stuff. I like USB-C personally. Like, we still use an old MacBook Pro for watching our old DVDs every day. My wife still has a 2009 MacBook Pro. And honestly, the MagSafe charge thing is, I'm sure at the time it was revolutionary and very helpful, but nowadays it just kind of annoys me because it feels like, when we're trying to watch it in bed or something, it feels like the MagSafe cable pops off really easily. Like, there will just be like a slight bit of pressure from my knee or where I'm holding it or from the blanket, and it just pops off really simply, and I can't charge it from the other side, which to me is extremely helpful on the next generation of MacBooks, is the fact that I can charge from the left or the right, depending on if I'm sitting here and the cable's over here, or if I'm sitting over here. I would much rather have charging work on both sides than have just MagSafe on one side. I'll put it that way. So let's see. Since Apple TV is kind of pointless now that every TV has the same feature, do you think Apple might drop the Apple TV completely, or maybe they'd make a real TV? I don't think they'll drop it completely. I think it's not doing that poorly. And honestly, like, every TV doesn't have the same feature because not every TV runs tvOS. So that's kind of, I'd say, the main difference between smart TVs with HomeKit and AirPlay support and the Apple TV is Apple probably really, really wants to push that, tvOS App Store and the app grid and everything. And they think that's the best way to enjoy their content. So that's why they still sell it. It definitely needs to be updated. I think it's way too expensive. And by far, if you're telling me which platform is the worst that Apple makes, I would say tvOS, just because it's so dated compared to the rest of the lineup. Like, the rest of the market between Amazon and Google and like everybody has come up with cheap 4K streaming sticks or streaming dongles that you can plug into the back of a TV that still do the HDR and Dolby Atmos and all that for like $50. And here Apple's charging $200 for it. Like, come on, Apple, get with the times. I'm not expecting it to be $50 for an Apple TV, but like at least $100. Like that should be where the Apple TV's at right now, and yet it's still $150, and they're still selling the 1080p version that's not 4K, and I'm just like, come on. So there's still kind of a market for the Apple TV. Excuse me. It's just not a big one. Let's see. Yavraz says, I really don't understand the need for 120 hertz. I have it on my iPad. It really doesn't make a difference. Just scrolling looks better. It's not a functional difference. It's just something I think people come to expect when spending that much money on a phone. That's why not all the iPhones next year are going to have 120 hertz, is because Apple knows most people probably don't notice. It's definitely not a need. It's a want, but that's what the pros are for. The pros are for people who want the phone to go above and beyond expectations. It's not It's not about that we need 120 hertz to use the phone. The point is, if you're spending $1,000 on a phone, you expect it to have some type of next gen tech specs. If we were just talking about, well, what does a average consumer really need? What do they actually need? Well, then most people would just get by with an iPhone SE. Like that covers the basics of what an average consumer really needs, but we have more tiers and we have more expensive iPhones because some people want more than that. Um, that's a bigger deal. That's why we have different iPhones, because there are people who want something that goes a little bit extra. Pink Season says you just have to sell people the importance of wireless charging with Android. They introduce more features, yes, but how practical are they really? Apple perfects a lot of those features, one of them being MagSafe. Yeah, you're right. You're right in the extent that Android definitely goes for most amount of features, but not so much how useful are the features. There's a whole lot of like Samsung phones have like millions of options in the settings, but how many of them do you actually need or utilize? So figuring out which features are most utilized or most appreciated, that's the challenge, right? That's what companies are trying to do. And finding a way to justify the price on those features. Neum, thank you for the bits. Drew, I think Apple is stubborn, wants people like Fernando Silva. Sorry, I don't know who that is. He shoots all his YouTube videos on 12 Pro and airdrops and edits on his iPad Pro. No offense to my iPhone. I love that thing. Almost got an addiction last year, but I like my DSLR. I don't want to use a phone to film. Well, if you're editing on an iPad Pro, the port's not going anywhere on the iPad, so you don't have to worry about that. And I would also argue if you are, yeah, like Fernando, if you shoot videos on your iPhone, airdropping them to an iPad's really, really easy. But yeah, no, you can still use, I mean, the iPad never had an SD card slot. That was always going to be an adapter. And I think it makes sense to get off of the SD card adapter trend, because not all it's a very narrow way of looking at it, because not all cameras use SD cards. A lot of them do. I get that. But there's a lot of cameras that have, again, the CFast card thing, or there's a lot of GoPros and drones that use micro SD cards. So you have to use an adapter with those anyway. So I would rather Apple push camera companies to work towards more wireless options. But again, I don't think Apple's helping very much there. They should be helping them with making AirDrop third-party supported. But no, I don't think the solution should be bring back the SD card adapter or bring back the SD card port on iPads and iPhones, or not iPhones, sorry, MacBooks. I don't think we should go backwards. I think Apple should just work a little harder to push people forward. I just got my Duo a couple minutes ago. It's really nice. Cool. I have no clue what the box looks like, so I'm excited to see it. I'll tell you what, if it's probably not going to show up during this live stream, hate to burst your bubble, just because most of our packages come later in the day, but if it shows up during the live stream, I'll unbox it live. If it doesn't, I'll do a live unboxing tomorrow. So it'll get here, and I'll be really tempted to open it, but I won't open it. Let's see. Wireless transfer improvements. Yeah, that's the main thing. I would love to see that with iOS 15. They really, really should open up AirDrop to third parties, even if it has to be like verified by Apple. Even if it was like, you can only put it on your camera if we approve of it. Like it's on a per request basis. You can't just, they don't just open up AirDrop and say, everybody can use AirDrop now. It's just like, well, if you specifically request to use AirDrop, we will allow the software. But that would be dope. I would love that. Let's see. I would love it if there was a new iPhone, but I don't think I need it, and it's an upgrade-worthy feature. Yeah, I mean, I think it, honestly, business-wise, it probably is a smart move to, if you want to remove the charge port, remove it from the Pro iPhones first, and then don't remove it from the entry-level iPhones, because those are obviously catering towards a more affordable market because they're cheaper, and those are the average everyday phones that most people are going to buy. And if you're the type of person to spend over $1,000 on a phone, it's probably not going to be that hard for you to get a hold of some more MagSafe chargers and have to buy the bricks or whatever. Honestly, I think Apple will include MagSafe with the portless iPhones, like the charger itself. I don't think they'll include the brick. The brick won't come back, but I could easily see them being like, okay, there's no Lightning port anymore, but we're going to ship you the little MagSafe puck that normally costs $40, but they would include it on phones without a port. And if that's the way it is, I'm fine with it. I'll buy it still. I'm not gonna boycott it over that. I can live without Lightning, but probably makes sense to remove it from that demographic. That way, if people are like, well, I don't want to have to buy all new stuff, or I don't want to have to adjust new standards, or I want to keep using my old charger. That's probably not as present with the Pro lineup. The Pro iPhones are a bit more tech oriented, obviously, because they care about things like a telephoto or a LiDAR or slightly higher nits or slightly better battery life. That's more of the iPhone enthusiast. So removing it for them is probably not going to be as brand damaging or as frustrating to people who buy just the regular 12 or the 12 mini. That demographic would probably be a bit more upset. At the same time, though, I still agree, though, removing Lightning from the 12 mini would probably help the mini the most. I wouldn't mind it if they removed it and just increased the battery size, because it really needs a bigger battery. Though, from what I'm reading, it sounds like that's not really what's going to happen. Let's see. One thing I've noticed since I've had it is I thought the folding hinge would be less floppy. I thought it would have to be a very specific stopping points, kind of like the Magic Keyboard for the iPad, but nope, it just flops all the way around. Obviously, the second you put it on the table, that doesn't really matter. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why you would want it to lock in place. What's the point in that? Do you want it to stay at 90 degrees for some reason? Or I would probably not even, the Apple Watch would just fall off. Let's see. For gaming, there are handhelds that are far below the cost of a phone. I think it also needs to be put in context. Yes, $1,000 phones are a lot cheaper than phones from decades ago, but now there are phones for $300, so $1,000 still looks expensive. Yeah, the value you get out of it versus cheaper phones, exactly. Yeah, I mean, cell phones used to be a lot more expensive in the 80s or 90s, and they didn't do half as much as they do today, but you're right, you can get, like, someone like my wife is using an iPhone SE for $400, and is there a bunch of stuff that she is missing out on that I can do on my phone? Not really. I mean, the differences between this phone, which cost, after tax, it was over $800 actually, partly because I got the 128 gig option, so I'm no longer on the 64 gig iPhone trend. I just figured if I do end up keeping the 12 mini, only $50 extra to double the storage, and I'm moving away from iCloud storage now, so it makes more sense to spend a little bit extra money to make sure I have a bit more local storage. So, but yeah, like, basically after tax, a bit north of $800, and that's nearly twice the price of the SE my wife is using. So, is she getting half the experience I'm getting? In my opinion, not really. I mean, okay, she doesn't have OLED and she doesn't have night mode and she doesn't have Face ID, but she still uses her phone. She still unlocks it and goes and browses through social media, and she can still take great photos with it. It still has portrait mode, though I honestly don't think she's used the camera on it much lately. And she checks her email and she checks stocks, and she does budgeting stuff and texts people. It's not like that's why $1,000 definitely seems like a lot when you can get a phone that achieves very, very similar experiences for a lot less. You can make the same argument with the 10R, now costing $500. So, no, I'm not going back to paying. I'm still paying for iCloud storage. I just downgraded it. I went from 2 terabytes to 200 gigs, and I don't plan on going back to 2 terabytes because, to me, I don't really have any interest in paying for cloud storage that's limited, because I know that eventually I'm going to fill it up, and then I'm going to have to come to a crossroads of, all right, what do I delete and what do I keep? And it's not very, the NAS can be expensive too. I haven't seen a super cheap way to do the NAS thing, but I still haven't really, I think my current plan is probably just to buy more local storage. For one, I would have to buy an M1 Mac Mini. That's a lot of money to spend. Price is a factor. It's like, okay, it's my memories, but at the same time, how affordable can I do this? Because it's not really something I'm using on the daily, so I don't need it to be like super accessible all the time. But Um, yeah, I don't want to spend $3,000 on having 10 terabytes of storage. Like, that's okay. For one, I don't really have a lot of space for it. There's not a lot of power outlets in here anyway. I'm trying to get rid of things, not put a bunch of more boxes and more computers, and I'm trying to be more minimal. You know, that TV is going to go to my parents when they move away, and I'm trying to sell my Mac Mini, and I'm probably just going to end up going with Apple trade-in just because no one wants it anyway. But yeah, just I'll probably just end up buying a bunch of those external drives at this point. But the issue I have with the iCloud or the Google Photos paid storage is that, okay, it's not really a long-term solution. Short-term, like in 2 to 5 years, it's probably fine. Be like, okay, I'm just gonna dump all my photos and videos up there. But I know, based on how many videos and pictures I take, it's only a matter of time before I fill that up. I mean, Nick and Sweeney already hit that point, and I was nearing that point. I was using around 1.2 terabytes before I decided to start downsizing, and I was like, okay, eventually I'm going to fill up this drive to 2 terabytes, and I'll have to sort through an insane amount, tens of thousands of photos and videos, and have to delete some I don't want and decide I don't need to remember that or I don't need to preserve that memory. So I'm going to just keep sorting through everything, which will take forever. It's going to take a whole lot of time. And then even when I sort through it all, that just delays the problem even further. So let's say I go through a bunch of photos and videos and delete them, and I'm scaled down 2 terabytes to 1 terabyte. Okay, it's only another 5 years or so before I fill it up again. And I'm going to have to keep paying for this storage. And maybe a decade from now, Apple allows a larger storage option. That's totally possible. I'm not doing the Apple One Premier thing where you have to spend an extra $30 a month to double your iCloud storage. That's just stupid. So either I end up paying more per month for all this cloud storage, or I have to start deleting all the photos and videos again, which I don't really want to do. So it's just a long and at the end of the day, I'm going to be deleting and sorting through all these photos and videos and paying $10 a month, $120 a year. So that's $1,000 a decade for photos that I'm not even going to get to keep forever. I would say it would be very different if iCloud had an unlimited option. I'll go on the record there. You can hold me accountable to this if Apple ever allows it. But if iCloud for a certain price was like, we will let you store all your photos and videos, no limits forever, that would be different. That would be, I mean, I guess it would depend on the price. I don't know if I would do like $50 a month for that, but I might consider doing $10 or $20 a month for that. I could be like, okay, unlimited storage of all my photos and videos at their original quality. And I know it's going to be secure because it's Apple, but it's not unlimited. It's 2 terabytes, which honestly, with how high resolution and high quality our videos and photos are these days, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, you can fill that up pretty easily. I'm not saying you can fill that up in a year or two, but I'm saying in 5 to 10 years, you could fill that up pretty easily. So Google annoyed me because they backed out on their unlimited thing, but it's not like I have to boycott them now because, I mean, they still offered 6 years of unlimited storage that no one else did. Like, Apple didn't let you store unlimited photos and videos for 6 years, and Google still is. I'm still using them right now. Like, I'm not going to have to do anything really that differently until June. It's June 1st, not July. So I still got over 6 months to go, which is why right now I'm taking all kinds of photos and videos to put up on Google Photos just because I'm like, I'm going to use it as much as I can. I want to preserve as many memories from the 2020 era as I can, whether it's just like food reading or how the yard looks or trips we're taking. I'm just taking as many photos and videos as I can and backing them up to Google. I don't care if people are analyzing them or they use them for the algorithm. I'll take the loss in security for the free aspect of it. But if once June 1st comes around, then I'll have to start doing things differently. But you still get to keep all of those photos and videos. It's not like Google deletes them all when June 1st comes around. It's just for future preferences. It's like after June 1st, things will start counting towards your Google storage. So come June 1st is when I'll turn off auto backup, and I'll still have a huge stockpile of photos and videos on Google, and I'm not going to delete the app or anything. I'm just not going to back up to it anymore. Um, but I've seen some options that look promising to me. I saw some, yeah, like Simon is suggesting right now, pretty much is what I'm thinking. There's some Western Digital external hard drives that have Ethernet and Wi-Fi support, basically, so you can just plug them in to your router, and then you can access the files on them from anywhere in your. I think as long as you have an internet connection. It might actually just be as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi. I can't remember, but I liked something like that because it's really cheap. I know that there's expensive alternatives. Everyone's like, just build a piece of, just buy this thing or buy this NAS system or just buy this computer and make it a server. It's like, yeah, I'm not, I'm trying to save, 10 to 20 bucks a month here. So if I'm trying to save 10 bucks a month and I end up spending $500 to $1,000, it's really not defeated. It's really not a huge solution. And I also want it to be small and light in case, I live in a place where there's lots of wildfires. So I don't want a giant system that I can't take out of the house in a hurry if I need to. I want to be able to store it in a small and compact fashion. And I know there's expensive solutions, but I'm trying to look for the cheapest ones. I've seen some of those Western Digital drives that are like 4 terabytes, 8 terabytes be around $100 or $200. So that's a whole lot cheaper than paying for cloud storage, and I could still access the files from my phone if I wanted to look up old photos and videos and that kind of thing. So just once a year, dumping my iCloud content onto an external drive is probably what I'll end up doing. And when the drive fills up, I'll just store it in a go bag in case I need to leave the house in a hurry for whatever reason. I can just grab it and go. No, they're not a scam. It's just annoying. The cloud storage has a lot of benefits. I won't lie. I've looked into a lot of cloud storage options because I really don't like the local storage route because the storage is right there, and if the drive fails on you, it's gone. And I know there's NAS systems, but they get more expensive and they take up a lot of space, and I don't want a whole separate computer having to draw power and work on the internet and have to be updated and that kind of thing. I'm just not into it. But what I like about cloud storage is it can be automatically done in the background, which is why if Google Photos was not backing out on this deal, I would have kept using it forever, basically. There you go. Western Digital has a 14 terabyte drive for $300. That would be nice. That's a lot of space. You have bad luck. Sometimes I've had bad luck occasionally. I'd also say the fact that you guys are watching this is evidence I have good luck, but I have had drives fail on me, which is why I'm skeptical of storing everything on a local drive, but just hope for the best, I guess. But I like having cloud storage because I can access the photos and videos anywhere. So I could literally go to, if I wanted to visit my father-in-law in Australia and fly all the way there, I could sign on to his computer, just enter a password, and boom, look at all my photos and videos and show him pictures from our house and that kind of thing. I wouldn't have to pack around a hard drive or bring a certain phone or something. It would be really easy to do. So I enjoy that aspect of it, and I don't have to worry about, okay, something goes wrong with the house, if the house burned down or flooded, or heaven forbid something bad happens to your location and you're not able to grab the hard drive in time, those files and memories are lost. Like Simon is saying here, I've had years of content on a drive and it died, and that was the day I started making multiple backups. I even keep one off site. There you go. Store everything on 2 local drives. Yeah, that would help. Increase, what's it called? Redundancy. You want redundancy on stuff you care that much about. So Niam's recommending I get the jellyfish tower. Thank you for the bits. Quality and files will only keep increasing, and you've already said you don't intend to stop documenting your memory. So my cousin and I did the math and bio calculations. By age 78, you'll be 1 petabyte to store it all. So I wanted to give you a local option. is best for security. I've seen the jellyfish tower before. I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money on it. I do like keeping. Yeah, how much are those things again? Aren't they like tens of thousands of dollars? Yeah, that's what I thought. Like $30,000. No, I don't care that much about it. Um, you guys have got to remember, I'm coming off of my last solution, which was free. My last plan for cloud storage was nothing. So literally any choice I go with is going to end up costing me than that. It's just a matter of how much. So my question is, how cheap can I store my memories? How cheaply can I store my photos and videos? So if the alternative is $40,000, I'll be like, yeah, that's not going to work out for me. Yeah, think of it. You could just make infinite Gmail accounts and use, multiple, get 15 gigs of Google storage each and just keep making new Google accounts. Yeah, that would take a whole lot of time. No, thank you. Hey, thank you, Ace. I'm glad you liked the video. Thank you. Security. Why do you have 12 hard drives in your carry-on, sir? It's like, this is my life. I have to take the hard drives around with me everywhere. I don't think I'll use a petabyte of storage. That seems absurdly high, but I guess I don't know how much I have on Google Photos. I wish they would tell you that. Like, it doesn't show up in settings anywhere. I think there's a setting in Google Preferences where it lets you download a bunch of stuff they have on your cloud, but you'll only know how much you have downloaded once you click that button. It should just tell you Google Photos is storing this much worth of files for you. I'd be curious because I have a lot of crap on there. You can spec up a jellyfish to up over $200,000. Wow. Yeah, I should just sell my house. Get a jellyfish. Your brain has infinite storage. Oh, come on. You know that's not true. Brains forget. I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday. Brains don't have very good storage. I don't know if you can put an actual quantifiable amount of storage on the human brain. Just think of the memories. You want to remember something, just think of it. Yeah, I remember that. That's probably the cheapest way to do it. Likely what my wife wants to do. But yeah, if 14 terabytes cost me $300, I'd probably get that. That will last me a long time. If it took me 5 to 10 years to use up 2 terabytes, $300. Yeah, I would probably do something like that. Elon is working on the memory thing. He switched from the Europe Gaming switched from the Note 10 Plus to the 12 Pro Max. Love it. Battery lasts me 2 days. Awesome phone. Awesome. Glad you enjoy it. Enjoy your extended battery life. And rip to the S Pen. I hear that the Note line might not continue. Samsung wants to discontinue the Note line. So rip to the S Pen users. I don't know what it means, though, because I'm seeing people say that Samsung's going to discontinue the Note line and just have S Pen support on the Ultra S series, like the S20 Ultra will get S Pen support, except it'll be S21 or the next generation S phone will get Ultra support, and they're also working on bringing S Pen support to the foldable phones. So they want the Z Fold to have S Pen support, which people have been asking for a long time. I'm just wondering how it doesn't scratch the display. But the rumors and everything keep saying that it'll support the S Pen, but it doesn't say if the S Pen will be built into it. I haven't seen anyone talk about that. Like, will the S21 Ultra have an S Pen that you can store in the phone, or will it just support the S Pen so you can carry it around with you and draw with it? Because that would be two very different things. If you can't store the S Pen in the phone, I don't see anyone using the S Pen anymore. But if they actually let the S Pen fit inside the phone itself, that would be a different discussion. I'd be like, okay, you're just simplifying the lineup a little bit. Hey, Europe Gaming gifted 1 tier 1 sub to the Talos of Tech community. Thank you, Europe Gaming. Appreciate that. That costs money. Why would you do such a thing? I appreciate it anyway. Rip exploding phones. Yeah, Mike, you're right. Goodbye to the exploding market. It's interesting that you say the 11 Pro Max is better battery than the 12 Pro Max. Every battery test I've seen actually shows the 12 Pro Max getting an extra 45 minutes or so over the 11 Pro Max. Really, I haven't seen that in battery tests. I saw Marquez say that it was a little bit worse. It's probably because battery tests are not an accurate way of phones being used. Most battery tests will just like turn on the phone and put on a timer or play videos or turn up the display to a certain brightness and just let it sit for a long amount of time. But that's not how we use our phones. I think the difference is the 11 Pro Max probably has a much better standby time. So when it's sitting and it's off, it's drawing a lot less power compared to the 12 Pro Max because it has a physically much smaller battery than the 11 Pro Max. It may be sipping the same amount of power as the 11 Pro Max, but because the battery's smaller, it drains a bit faster. So that's why I noticed the Pro Max dying quicker. But yeah, I don't know. It probably depends on how we use our phones. I use mine for a lot of YouTube, so maybe YouTube is less friendly on the 12 Pro Max than the 11 Pro Max. I don't know. Maybe they will include a case you can keep your S Pen in. That just sounds dumb, though. I'm trying to imagine a phone case that can hold the S Pen, and it would have to be awkward. It would have to have a weird bump or something protruding off the side. It would just be weird. I don't think anyone would do that if they... I don't know. I'm curious, though. Europe Gaming gifted another tier 1 sub. Oh my god. You got to stop gifting away these subs. These cost money, Europe Gaming. I hope you're aware. Still waiting for my MagSafe charger. No problem. Love to support. Well, you're supporting just by watching. I hope you guys know. You don't have to subscribe or anything to support. Drew, if you'd like, I might be able to give you 10 terabytes of storage for free. My cousin and I are currently building a cheap cloud service like iCloud or Dropbox. We only have 43 terabytes to give away so far, but our goal is to get to 5 petabytes. Shout out to our parents for letting us turn their garage into a data center. We're working with business accountants and lawyers on what our subscription model will look like and obtaining our very own web domain. Well, that sounds fun, but I don't think I'm going with the cloud storage route just yet. So unless it's unlimited, the only cloud storage I'm somewhat interested in is if it's unlimited. So I thought about Flickr Pro. I looked into. They have a cloud service option where you can store unlimited photos and they won't compress them. But no videos. Videos is limited to 1 gig, which is basically nothing. But it's something because I was looking into it and it would be less than $5 a month. It was close to like $4 a month, I think. I was like, okay, $4 a month, and you can upload all of your photos infinitely with no compression. That's pretty sweet. Another one I looked into, which I actually used to use for a little while, was Amazon Prime. I used to have Prime. I got rid of it because I wasn't really using it. But while I had Prime for a while, there was a unlimited photo storage option. So Prime is definitely more expensive. It comes out to being more like $10 a month. But they do let you store as many photos as you want on their cloud service, which is pretty nice. Ultimately, though, I care more about being able to preserve my videos as well. So if there was another cheap unlimited photo and video option cloud service out there, I would definitely consider it. But it's not a 100% thing. Because like I said, I'm going from it costs me nothing right now to it's going to cost me something. It's just a matter of how much it's going to cost me. And it'd probably be easier on me because I would rather buy things outright than pay for them monthly. So it's probably going to be financially easier to just buy some local discs outright and have them last me several years until they fill up. Which you were in college still. Prime students get a discount on the membership. I think I got a discount. I wasn't in college though at the time. I had Prime when I was in high school, I think. That's when I signed up for it. Just travel to Europe. Unlimited clouds there. Mike coming in with the puns again. Run Plex on a NAS. I know that there's expensive options. I'm just saying I want to go cheaper than that. I don't. if the NAS costs more than $150, it's not as compelling to me as just buying a dedicated local drive. And I don't think the NAS is going to be that cheap. And I'm not really interested in having a whole separate machine. I don't want a NAS, everyone. Get a NAS. Yeah, that's exactly how the chat's handling it. I don't want a NAS. So, Drew, have you considered a NAS? For one, people forget this office does not have a lot of power outlets. My computer, my camera, this camera, everything in here is running on 4 outlets, 4 110 outlets. I'm not talking about 4 sets of 2 sets of 2. There's one plug over here that I have daisy chained a bunch of surge protectors. Sorry, just one. I have 2 outlets over there that are both 110, and then 2 plugs over there, and that's it. So I don't have a ton of space and a ton of room for a whole nother computer system and a whole nother. My iMac doesn't have a ton of storage anyway. Bye, Cosminator. Have a good time in class. Mike says, wife and I just switched from student premium Spotify to Duo premium Spotify. A little more expensive, but being able to listen to music at the same time is great. Yeah, that's, I think, what I'm on right now. My brother-in-law decided to get Spotify Premium Family, and he has me and his wife on it, and we've been using it. So I don't recommend a NAS. Jellyfish Tower is better. Drew, put off the Tesla so you can afford one. The Tesla was already put off. You're acting like I'm already buying it. No, thank you. Not getting a Jellyfish. For one, it's huge. I don't want a huge solution. I don't want like a giant tower for my system. I would rather have something small and compact that I can throw in a bag if I need to. Jellyfish is a network connection. Network attached storage. So the Jellyfish is a NAS. There you go. Thank you for the bits. Ace Rockala says, this will probably be our last question. So with your house being paid off and no extra costs like multiple streaming services, going minimalist and 2 incomes, what's your end game? Island in the Bahamas? Island in the Bahamas sounds fun. I bet my wife would be all over that. No, that's not our end game. Mainly what we're doing right now, we just bought a bunch of stocks today, actually, during my lunch break. Mainly is just achieving financial independence so that we can do whatever we want. I'm pretty much doing whatever I want right now with YouTube and Twitch, but we would like, we would like the ability to not do that if we don't want to. So the FIRE movement, in case you aren't aware, stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And it's not so much just saying we want to retire and stop working and sit on the couch and do nothing for the rest of our lives. We would just like the ability to do whatever we want in regards to work in our jobs and be able to have a lot more financial flexibility of like, yeah, I could stop doing YouTube or stop working for a year and be just fine because we've built up our passive income to the point that it doesn't matter what we make. We're making enough from our investments that we can just live for free if we need to. But personally, I like working and I look forward to going to work. So I would still probably be doing this even if we did achieve financial independence. But that's essentially our end game, is to put all of our money into the stock market and investments and let it accumulate value over time and let it build, investing in a lot of high dividend stocks that issue a lot of dividends each quarter and they grow in time. And eventually that will get to the point where our average annual return is able to cover our monthly expenses. So sadly, we're not near that right now. We're not anywhere near that right now. So we're paying all of our bills, which thankfully our monthly expenses are pretty low right now. But we have to pay all that through money we have to actively work for. So I either have to stream on Twitch or do YouTube, and my wife's working. But it would be nice if we didn't have to. If, YouTube falls apart or something happens to me and I can't work anymore, and if we decide that we want to take longer vacations and that kind of thing, we can. I still just love content production in general. So even if we did have financial independence, I would probably still be doing videos and that kind of thing. So if you're really, really young, I would encourage people to look into that. I don't think a lot of younger generations realize what advantages they have as a younger person when it comes to investments, because the stock market on average will increase over time. A lot of people see it as just this flat thing and you just got to buy the right stocks, but in reality with a lot of index funds, it's the general trend is this. It's pretty much progressively getting higher and higher. It's just very slow. But when you're young, if you start investing in it at a very young age, you can have huge returns by the time you're ready to retire, which doesn't have to be when you're 60. It can be when you're 30 or 40 if you start really, really young. Just putting away $100 a month or a couple $100 a month when you just start working can allow you to retire a lot earlier than someone who doesn't do that and just decides to spend all their money as soon as they make it. So saving money and putting it aside at a young age and making sure it's working for you and not just sitting in a bank account doing nothing, and instead it's accumulating wealth over time is a very, very smart move. Forget about doctors and scientists. Let's give NBA players 5-year, 190 million contracts. Like, dang, it's so dumb. Well, we couldn't pay all doctors and scientists that much, but they do make quite a bit. What's cooking, good looking? Hey, Randy made it just for the end of the stream. I'm about to wrap up, but thanks for tuning in. So you can pirately download programs with the M1 like MATLAB? No, don't do that. Don't pirate. What happened to your Instagram Periscope streams? I never did those. You must be confusing me with someone else. Sorry. I never did Instagram live streams or Periscope streams. Sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at the clock and the questions are coming in. But anyway, that's our end game we're basically investing, I'd say, like 80 to 90% of our income right now. That's where most of our money's going. So in case people donating or subscribing with Twitch Prime and everything, if you're wondering where the money's going, I'm trying to invest it so that it turns into more money so that I can keep making content and not have to worry about what happens to YouTube, because I really see it as a bumpy, unreliable income source, because YouTube income is all over the place. Some months it's great, some months it's not so great. So I'd rather just not have to worry about it so I don't have to do sponsorships and I can just keep doing what I'm doing. So that's the plan. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate the donations. And I got some EV videos uploading right after this. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching. Have an excellent rest of your day. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.